Hey everyone, Romel here, and today we'll be taking a look at the Ergotron HX monitor arm. If you haven't seen my Alienware AW3821DW review, I briefly touch up on the monitor arm, but in this video I'll go a little bit more in depth about the arm as well as how I use it. I never thought that I would spend this much on a monitor arm, but after all of the research I did, I wanted to make sure the arm I got was going to support my ultrawide, especially since I'd be moving it around a lot. The last thing that I would want is to buy a cheap mount to try and save some money and only have it break, and now I'm out a monitor as well as an arm. I've only read good things about the Ergotron arms and I felt very confident in this purchase. Even though the price may have been high, after using it for several months now, this is definitely a purchase I do not regret. I'll have some links in the description below if you're interested in purchasing this monitor arm, and as always, if you do use those links, it does help out the channel. First, let's start with the unboxing. Inside the box, you get all the hardware that you need to mount it via a grommet hole or using the clamp. For my desk, I decided to go with the clamp as I didn't want to drill a hole into this tabletop just yet. You'll notice that in the instructions, it says not to mount it close to the edge of the desk, but for my use case, I needed it to be as close as possible since I needed the monitor arm to extend out while I'm sim racing. The underside of the desk, I do have an extra piece of wood just to give it some extra support. This might not be necessary depending on how thick your desk is. The rest of the setup is really easy once you have the base mounted on your desk. All you do is insert the rest of the parts and tighten up the screw with the Allen key. My bottom screw isn't tightened all the way, which lets me rotate my arm a little bit more towards the rig. This might not be the safest option, but I don't plan on pulling upwards where this would come out of the base. But yeah, if you don't plan on doing this, then tighten that bottom screw all the way. This uses a standard VESA mount, and I just mounted it to the back of my ultrawide monitor. I was able to pop it on the arm itself once everything was screwed in. There are different places where you can increase and decrease the tension, but for me, the only one that I did was for rotating the monitor. I don't plan on rotating my ultrawide to a portrait orientation, so I just tightened that up all the way, and I was hoping that would kind of keep the monitor straight whenever I moved it. In terms of measurements, the monitor arm does swing 18 inches to the left or to the right from the center of the base. 18 inches is just barely enough from where I have it mounted. I unfortunately can't mount it any further since there is a metal piece where my desk connects to the legs. If it was just a few more inches, then that would have been perfect. You'll notice that I do have my rig angled slightly towards my desk just so I could center the arm at its full extension. This definitely isn't an issue at all, and I'm happy that it barely even made it. The other option would be using the grommet hole, drilling a hole as close to the edge as possible, and then mounting it that way. There are some Velcro straps here to help with the cable management, and there's a little cover at the base of the arm. The one thing that I wish this had was for the cables to exit through the back of the arm itself rather than going through the side. This arm does support the weight of my Alienware AW3821DW, and it stays in place no matter where I put it. It also can support up to a 49 inch, and I've seen a lot of people use it with the Samsung G9s. You do have to get the upgraded tilt head, but besides that, this monitor arm supports the weight of my monitor with no problems whatsoever. For the movement, I can tilt the monitor upwards, downwards, to the left and to the right. But for my use case, I don't really use that too often, but it is there if you do need to move your monitor arm like that. This is definitely the key to my setup and how I'm able to use the monitor for both sim racing and everything else. If you're looking for a solution similar to this, I'd highly recommend getting the Ergotron HX, especially if your ultrawide monitor is one that you plan on using for not just sim racing but everything else. The price is definitely a tough one to swallow, but for the quality you get with this monitor arm, it's definitely worth it. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed that, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below or get in touch with me on Twitter or Discord. I'll catch you guys in the next one.